Hello, hello, everybody. We are so happy and so excited to have you here. I am Tanita Hopkins with the Securus Foundation. And as you know, we have been joining you every week, bringing the Language Matters campaign to your attention through these Facebook Live series, The Labels You Give. And basically, we want to educate and bring awareness to the effect and the impact of using humanizing language versus dehumanizing language. And we invite all those who are not familiar with the campaign to log on to the ticker that's going along at the bottom of the screen. You'll see that if you log on to that, you'll get some information about the campaign. And we ask that you sign the petition. We need your voice at the table to show that language does matter. Jenice Green, who is our guest today, she is a phenomenal woman. Obviously, she's beautiful, but then she's also a support. She is a wife of someone who is formerly incarcerated. Her husband was just released last week. So we not only have Jenice, who is a wife, she is an advocate, she is an author, she is a motivational speaker, and she is president, founder, and CEO of WOW, correct? And
correct.
We also refer to her as the prison wife coach. So please, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for my special guest today, Miss Jenice Green.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm so excited. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I am so excited to have you here. So the question that I ask every individual that comes on here is the first question, because first of all, I need to see that we're on the same page.
Right.
Why did you decide to be a part of this Language Matters campaign?
Let me tell you, Language Matters is so important because what it's doing is it is changing the perspective of how we see incarceration, how we see those who have been in prison, how we see those who are currently doing time. And it begins to actually humanize them. I think something happens when someone goes into prison where they no longer have a name, okay? They just have a number. And that is damaging to someone. And so what Language Matter is actually putting purpose back on the human that was called ex-felon, inmate, criminal, all those horrible words that need to be replaced as someone who is human, someone who is a returning citizen. Putting the X on them, saying ex-offender is a big no-no. Okay, so Language Matters is also helping people believe in the second chance, because now you are now lifting off the whole X and you're saying, hey, we're not calling them an ex-offender anymore because they are a human. They did their time, right, for the crime. And now it's time for us to change the language and make sure that they have a true second chance.
Your husband was incarcerated how many years, may I ask?
Well, he was in, the whole process was 6 years.
Because here's the thing, and I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself, but
sure.
The passion, of course, with your husband just coming home, obviously that's an exciting thing, right? But then to see that this is a 6-year process and this fire and this zeal that you have, I want to ask you, when did you start getting passionate enough to share this zeal and this passion with other women, wives, girlfriends of those who have husbands or fiancés or boyfriends that are currently incarcerated or formerly incarcerated? When did this transition happen for you? Like in the course of this 6 years, when was this passion birthed?
Well, let me tell you, I have a big story on it. Just long story short, my husband, we knew he was going to end up doing a sentencing, and do his time. So we got married when he was on bond. When I got married, we were looking at 25 years. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, 25 years. We were looking at it possibly. But those who do not know me and those who do know me, I am a believer. I have faith. And so I believed he ain't doing 25 years. So we're going to go ahead and get married and make sure that we are together in marriage and holy covenant while he's doing his time. So when I walked down the aisle, I was believing God, and things did turn around to only 80 months, which is where we're at now. So in that process, we were only married for 3 months. when they took him. And shortly after, I promise you guys, I feel like there was something on my forehead. All hell broke, right? And when that happened, I ended up having major back surgery due to a fracture of my lumbar. I have metal all over my back. I had complications with my surgery. So then I ended up losing my job because I couldn't perform my duties. So now I'm homeless. I'm walking on a walker, trying to learn how to walk. My family and my father and my brother and different people were having diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. I had everything going on at the same time. And I felt like no matter how many steps forward I made to go forward in life, something would always come and pull me back, right? And so I have this thing that my bishop always says, Bishop Brown, make pain pay. So I was like, you know what? If I'm going to go through this, then I'm going to make it pay. If there's a purpose for it. So my husband said, you know what? We're going through this because you are the answer. And I said, you're absolutely right. So just want to put a little tip in there. If you have a problem that you can't get out of and the cycle keeps going, it's because the answer is probably inside of you. Absolutely. So I went ahead and so I said, okay, you know what? Let's go. So we birthed out Love Beyond Bars. Love Beyond Bars. What we do is it's a support emotionally, also mentally. We give out referral services, things of that nature, to families impacted by incarceration. So that's the family and the children. I got another hit. Then next thing I know, I have Lyme disease. And so now the Lyme disease is eating up my bones. And so now I need a hip replacement. I'm only like 35. Okay, what else am I supposed to gain from this? And that's when I started thinking about the prison wives. Because I said, when I went through my homeless time, I said, you know what? God, if you get me out of this, I'm going to make sure that no other woman, no other girlfriend experiences the loneliness of being a prison wife or prison girlfriend. I know people who might be watching or going to watch the replay may think that we're crazy for loving someone that's behind bars. But see, it's not crazy, okay? It's called unconditional love. And we decided to love someone beyond the bars. So I said, you know what? I want to change the narrative, the definition, the culture of prison wife. Because I'm noticing that I wasn't getting jobs, I wasn't getting assistance, not because I didn't qualify, but because of the stigma of prison wife that was on me.
Wow.
When people hear prison wife, they think of, oh, she's desperate. Oh, poor thing, she has low self-esteem. No, honey, we're the most courageous, boldest, educated women that you'll find. We're cut from a different cloth. And so I said, you know what, then? We're going to go ahead and birth out WOW. I know I always tell you this. I know I'm saying a whole lot right now. Every time when someone says, hey, so what's going on with your husband? And I say, oh, my husband's behind federal prison bars. What's the first thing they say? Wow. So women outside the walls. And that's how WOW was birthed. So it all started with Love Beyond Bars, through the pain and all the stuff that I went through. And then I just wanted to be able to help change the language, be a support to prison wives and girlfriends, to lift up the embarrassment or the shame that may come with loving someone beyond the bars.
Wow. So that's the weight.
It's the weight. That's one of the weights of the weight. There's many different weights, but one of the weights is carrying the title, the label of prison wife. And we are already dealing with the weight, which is the time frame, right? That's a weight all by itself. But the weight of the weight, all because you love someone, that weight of the label, it is no joke. People don't understand the weight of the label. And I tell everyone, what is the best thing you could do for a prison wife or prison girlfriend? Just be consistent and be an ear. Sometimes we don't want any of your advice. We just want someone to bleed or vent on. Because you know why? Prison wives and prison girlfriends are the exactly what people in the hospital, the ventilators and life support, what they use to keep people alive. That's what we are. We are the machine, the living, walking life support machine. So all we do all day is pump breath and pump energy and pump life into the one that's incarcerated. Wow. But see, people don't know this. They just think that we have nothing best to do with our life. No, we're here making sure this one stays alive. But then you ask, who's pumping life into us?
Yes. Wow. That right there, you said you guys need people to be consistent. Someone who is the living, walking, basically ventilator for someone else, pumping life into them. Man, that is powerful because
That's
I
what we
think
do.
about the people who are on the ventilator. If it's not for that, they cannot breathe, right?
That's right.
And
And with WOW, that's another reason why WOW is so important, because I tell the ladies, I know that you're doing time, but I need to make sure that you're doing time healthy. I also don't want them to be consumed by this time, because they will lose themselves real quick. If you are not number one on that list, there is no him, there is no relationship. And I try to help them become a better wife, better woman, a better mother, a better version of themselves while they are waiting. But I tell them it's your best time of your life, because you get to recreate you, rebrand you, and reproduce.
yes, I love that. And when you say, because what you just talked about is self-care.
Yep.
Self-care. We had someone, Danielle Moore was on a few weeks ago, and she talked about the importance of self-care. Because if you're going to be a ventilator, as you described so eloquently, if you're going to be that person for someone else, my God, if you don't take care of yourself, you taking everybody out, honestly, right?
Right.
So the fact that you even were that intentional and thoughtful to consider that, there's a story behind every smile.
Right.
I mean, the more I meet people and I hear their stories, and I've met some incredible people,
I'm bad.
And the thing about it is, it lets you know that your story, although it may be unique, the one consistent thing that we have is that God has gifted each one of us with a smile to where we don't look like what we've gone through.
Listen. Thank you, Jesus.
Speak on it.
Yeah, it's so true. He preserved me, he kept me. Know that God has trusted you. I tell my prison wives, you have what it takes. You just didn't know. God has trusted you with it, and he's already sealed it and signed it that you're a victor. You're going to win. You have the victory already. And I need you to know that we believe the report of the Lord, and that at the end of the day, he will get the victory. We will get the victory, and it's going to be big.
So I think about you being signed, sealed, and delivered for such a time as this.
Listen.
And I can only imagine the women that are participants in your program, in your support group, how they could come in there, like if you ever watch wrestling, how, you have to ease to that corner and tag somebody's hand.
Yes.
That's what I look at you as, Jenice. I look at you as that person who's coming in, tagging those women so they could catch their breath, get them all filled up in the corner, and then get them back out there so that they can handle their business and finish their race. What type of advice do you want to give to any wives, girlfriends, or even children's mothers? Their father is incarcerated. What type of information or advice or suggestions do you give to those individuals to help them possibly navigate or manage, the weight, and meaning the heaviness as well as the weight of when they come home?
So let's talk about for the prison wives and the girlfriends, right?
Mm-hmm.
During the weight of the weight, I want you to understand that the weight which we're carrying, what happens when you go to the gym, right? You have to lift those weights. You have to tear those muscles. This is building my endurance. This is building my marriage. This is building my relationship. This is building me. The weight of the weight will also help you tap into things that you don't even know that exist. And I want you to get a piece of paper out, and I want you to begin to go back to those moments where you used to dream and write down your dreams. Please make sure that you keep children as the number one priority. Everything else goes to the side. Everything you put the pause button on, because what can happen is if you do not nurture the children during the weight of the weight, that weight of incarceration will fall on the kid, and they will begin to find the validation of their father elsewhere. But please try as much as you can, or find a mediator to do it for you. to keep the communication between the father and the child. Because at the end of the day, they need the imprint of their father. They need to hear their father's voice. They need to hear, good job, son, good job, daughter, even if it's through the phone.
You said, get a piece of paper out and take a moment to dream.
Yes.
You said, give yourself permission to embrace you, and you repeated that. Your man can't put you back together. Now, that's whether they incarcerated or out. And then you said, keep children as a number one priority for those women. Now, here's another thing. You talked about phases of your ministry. Last week, when your husband was coming home, basically you said, I'm about to go into another phase of this thing. And so you are being birthed into another phase of your ministry so that you can yet have something else to teach, something else to share, another way to throw a lifeline to the women who are on the same path.
Yes.
Talk about it.
Yeah, so I told my girls, I said, ladies, you may not see me, once he comes home, you may not see me so visible on our page, because I need to make sure that I put my work in over here, not only to make sure that my marriage is stable and strong and the foundation of the marriage is strong, but I need to make sure that I make all my oops and all my good and all my corrections so that I know what the heck I'm talking about when I come back to you as your prison wife coach.
Wow.
And so every day you have to activate hope within yourself, because, you know, once you have hope, you don't have, once the hope is gone, you don't have faith. And once you have faith, you don't have purpose, and then everything else goes down, right? So finally, when he's in my hands and now he's tangible, it still didn't feel real. I told myself, Jenice, create moments for him to be the man. And I noticed with him, it built his confidence.
Yes.
Like, oh, I need to be her king. Like, next thing he was walking with his shoulders a little more higher. Even when he's home every day, I find something to stroke him about, to tell him how great he's doing or how wonderful he did this or whatever the case may be, because now I have to make him, I guess, help him believe in himself again, and also really know that when he comes in, he can really be the man. I could say it's worth the wait, because when you were the lifeline for that person every day, all day, you finally get to touch what you have been speaking life over for all these years. And to see that thing move, talk, breathe, smile, joy, humbly, you can lean back and say, I did that.
I love that. What you just talked about is even how you building up the man, using your words to build him up. I think about that, and I think about what humanizing language does. It builds people up. It builds the confidence. You said when you made those created spaces for him to be a man. So for this campaign, the Language Matters campaign, what we're trying to do with, educating and bringing awareness to using humanizing language, we're trying to create space.
Yes.
To allow people to become whoever they're supposed to be. The poor choice they made or didn't make, that's not our business. Once someone has paid their debt to society, that don't have anything to do with us. And because you spoke words that were life, I knew before you told me that you were a child of God. I knew it.
Right.
Because you can't speak life except the life giver be in you. And that's just
it.
So that's just fact. So this humanizing language, just like you use the words, the positive, powerful, affirmative words to build this man up, and you will continue to do that and build the women up that you work with. That is what the Securus Foundation is trying to do with the Language Matters campaign. So for those of you, again, who have not jumped on board with this campaign, I ask you, like I asked you last week and the week before, what are you waiting on?
Yes.
Let our light shine before men so that they could see our good works and God could be glorified. Because at the end of the day, this is what this is all about. His words are spirit and life, and that's what humanizing language is spirit and life. So please Join the movement. This is a call to action. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. And don't forget to sign that petition. We need your signatures.
Sign. Bye.